Right, so here we have my very first fabric book. It's wrapped first of all with a vintage doily, and then I've just put some felt around it just to protect it a little bit more. This is my first video I've ever done, so I apologise if it's a bit shaky, but I'm going to give it a go and we'll see what happens. This is the cover of the fabric journal. There's the front cover, there's the spine, and here's the back, if you can see it there. Now I'm going to just go through it. What I've used here is some beautiful sari trim and sari fabric, which I've pieced together in strips to line the spine. And the whole book is made from fabric, even the covers and all the pages, and they're stuffed inside with some K-pop toy filling. And what I've done, I've used a furnishing fabric first of all to line the back and the front, and then I've placed beautiful sari fabric and Indian trims and completely covered it really with these sequin trim. Here we have an advert, a sewing advert that I got from the internet, and I printed it out onto cotton and glued it on, and then I made a border with this sparkling trim. I'm just going to bring it in a little bit so you can see the detail. Now here we have a brooch, metal brooch, and some roses, handmade velvet roses, and that again there is a beautiful piece from an Indian sari which I've stuck on, and then I've put some feathers on just to add a bit more interest. If you can see the feathers, there's one and there's the other. Just zoom out again a little bit, and at the bottom I've got some vintage lace, and that take that around the back, and there at the back we can see some more Indian trims, one there and there, and this, I absolutely love the colours of this fabric, and this one, and the whole thing is tied with some cord. So I'm just going to show you a little bit more on the front, because I don't know if you could see it. I'm just going to zoom it in a little bit and show you. There, that's an agate flower, a hand carved agate bead. It's a real gem, precious gem, semi-precious. And here we have some little dangles just made with some old broken jewellery that I had, and there we have sari ribbon, and there is the whole thing's tied with this cord. So I'm going to open it now. Let's see what's inside. It's just tied with a regular knot and wrapped around. So just move these out of the way. I hope you can see this because I'm a bit amateur at this job. So I'm going to open the first page now, and so you can see what it's like inside. Here we have it, the first page, and here's the inside of the cover. We have more silk, sari trim, ribbon, and inside I've made a little journaling card, little photograph, and here we have some real genuine vintage darning wool on a little card, and again there's another one, an original darning wool card. And on the corner up there, I don't know if you can see it there, that's a scarf clip which comes off and it just clips. So it's a vintage scarf clip. And then underneath you can see that I've used lots of lovely fabrics. There we go. Now the next page opposite is done in lighter colour, but still lots of texture, lots of fabrics. Indian tree there, you can see it there. And then here is a tag that I've made, and I've stuck that down onto the page, and here's a vintage photo, vintage advert of a young girl, and I've put the frame around it, and it's trimmed with this lovely fabric with gold thread, and there we have a fabric tag. And this part up at the top, which I'm struggling to show you, just a moment. This is a doily, a vintage doily. And that's it for that one really. You can put what you like in that little tuck spot. Just put these back for now. Because my idea when making this was to do it as a seamstress journal, but I wanted it to be vintage and I wanted it to be just a little boho. So she's a seamstress, a vintage seamstress, but she also likes beautiful things, and this is like a little book that she made for herself to keep some of her favourite little beautiful things. And here we have the next two pages with blue. We have a gorgeous vintage photograph printed out on cotton, and there we have a brad, some vintage lace, more vintage lace, pearl trim down the middle, and on the other side we have a tuck spot made with vintage lace and pearl trim. Here we have a button card which I bought from the internet. It was a dressmaking kit. It could be used for journaling or for putting buttons on. Just put it there for now. And this is the most beautiful velvet, embossed velvet turquoise colour. I'm not sure if it's showing up. And on there I've attached a vintage marker seat brooch, which is genuinely vintage, and that will come with the journal, because this lady, this seamstress, she loved beautiful things. So anything that caught her eye, if she could afford it, she would buy it. And this is her special little book to keep them in. So you could fit a lot more brooches on there, or hat pins. I don't think of anything else to say. That's vintage lace. Oh, this blue ribbon is sari ribbon. It's silk sari ribbon. And there's a little clip at the top there. And that's that one. I'll turn the page over. And now we have the purple pages. There's quite a lot going on, so I'll start with this page, which is first of all covered in dark Cadbury's velvet, Cadbury's blue velvet. Just see if I can, that's it, bring it up a bit. I don't know if you can see that colour, but it's a Cadbury velvet, Cadbury's blue. And here we have a pocket with a coin trim, and inside is a button card with some genuine vintage buttons. There we go. And we have a photograph of the lady who owns the journal. And here we have also a handmade tag with, again, a cotton printed picture of a seamstress. It's covered in vintage lace, and I've aged it with the Tim Holtz vintage photo. Now this is actually a double tag. It opens up, and there you can see on one side we've got vintage fashion patterns for a blouse and a skirt, and the other side is blank for you to write what you like. So they all fit inside this pocket so that you could put what you like in there, really. We have a vintage cotton lace across the bottom, and above the cards, I don't know if you can see it, is a brooch, a vintage bar brooch with a gorgeous purple pink gem in the middle. I think it's glass probably, but it's a very old one. I've had it for ages. In fact, a lot of these things I've had hoarding away, and I thought, right, it's time to use them. I would stashing them all away. Now when I made this book, I purposely left a big gap between the two signatures. Got, I think, a 3-inch gap. That was so that I could put plenty of bulky items inside and it would still close. So just showing you, there we have another brooch, a vintage one again that I've had in my possession for many years, and hanging from there, from the brooch, is a little bag, and inside the bag, if I can just get it out and show you, one moment, open the bag, which is, the bag's fastened in up with the brooch, but there's a pair of pearl earrings which are absolutely whoppers. Just look at those. Can you see them? And there you go. And they are vintage clip-ons. And what a colour, they're absolutely beautiful. Now I must say that I don't think they're real. I don't think so anyway. I've had them a long time. In fact, my mum got them for me. She was always bringing me things from the charity shops. Always. She'd bringing me earrings and all kinds of things. She used to enjoy going around the charity shops every day. And she'd always bring something back. So I've decided that I'm going to include those with this journal, because I think that Alice, the lady, here she is, I think she would have enjoyed wearing those when she's not working, and she liked to get dressed up and go out to the ball. Those are really favourite special earrings that she would reserve for special occasions. Right, now we're on to the next page, and this is again a background of crushed purple velvet and some golden velvet and some vintage lace, some more vintage lace. This actually was a blouse that came from the charity shop, and I cut it up. It was I think it's probably not that vintage, but it looks it. This is an old Doily. I think that one's vintage. That came from a charity shop years ago. And there's a vintage button, which will open if you want to put anything underneath, and it's sewn at the top. And what I've done is made this little felt case, and here we have Alice's spectacles, which she uses, and they belong behind the doily and the journal. So I do hope you can see this. I'm just zooming out a little bit now so you get the idea. There's lots of things hanging. It's a shabby chic journal. We're not looking for perfection, but what we are looking for is texture and interest and colour. Now again, here is the most beautiful vintage brooch. If I can just zoom it in, let you have a look. There we go. I don't know if you can see that. And it's marquisite. There we go, look, that's pinned on there. I think this would make a lovely brooch. A book to keep brooches or hat pins. And so there you go. So that's the middle of the book. And we've got this lovely trim with all the little coin beads, which I've used all over this page. So we'll turn over now to the next page, and here we have the golds and the browns and the oranges. Starting with, first of all, this one, this page. We have crushed brown velvet, vintage button, vintage lace, a pocket, little photograph inside the pocket. Could be Alice when she was a young girl. And on the back we have some vintage newsprint. We also have some genuine vintage buttons still in the retail package, and it says Glamour. So, and they're brown, they fit in there. Then we have some shibori silk and some vintage lace and the same vintage lace along the side, and it's backed with crushed golden velvet and some lovely brown lace at the top. I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see the brown lace at the top. It's just one moment. There we have it. Brown lace there. And some more vintage lace along the top. And now going on to the next page, opposite. Sorry about all this moving about, I'm just not used to this. I'm worried you're not seeing all the picture. This is an orange, a burnt orange, crushed velvet. I don't know if the colour is picking up properly on this video. And there we have more vintage lace across there and across the bottom. And here's a little jewellery drawer bag, and inside there we have a vintage, just take it off, we have a vintage pearl necklace, and we also have this gorgeous marquisite brooch in the shape of a fern relief. Look at that, and that's gorgeous. That just pins on there, and you could put loads of brooches on this. It could be a brooch cushion instead of a pin cushion, or you could keep hat pins in it. Just excuse me a minute while I just close it. Just put the brooch back. Oh, I need my glasses. There, so that's ideal for keeping special pins or brooches. There we've just got little embellishment. Oh, the brooch has come undone again. And here we have a little pearl necklace which belongs to Alice, and she likes to wear it with those earrings. So there we have it. It's not real, she couldn't afford real pearls, but it's so beautiful, so delicate. And just look at the clasp, you can see it. Such a delicate little clasp there. Look at that. And it's in wonderful condition. Lovely creamy pearls. So they belong there. And they just tuck behind this brooch. The little ribbons on the bag. Just tuck behind. And then close the brooch for now. So there we have it, I think. Just secure it a bit more. So there we go. So that's that one. Now the next page, I think we're coming towards the last, this is the last page, last two pages now, and we've got red. You can see, I don't know what the colours are showing up like on here, but we'll start with this page. We have a velvet, crushed velvet, and a lighter crushed velvet, and inside we have a pocket with, let's have a look, tag, beautiful tag, double tag, there we go, and that opens up at the bottom, space for journaling, for making notes, and the back is a fashion plate from an old very old Victorian book. And then we also have an advertising card, and on the back there's some buttons. I think that's it. You can fit a lot more things in. It's a very deep pocket, but I've just popped those in for now. And so that's that one. And then the very last page opposite is also red, deep crushed velvet, a pinker velvet, and some red lace. And at the bottom there we have a gorgeous sparkly brooch, which comes with the journal, as do all of them. And you could fit a lot more up there, which I've left space. Now this is another deep pocket, and let's see what we've got in here. We have a photograph, an old photograph there. It's made onto cardboard. It's actually a cotton printed photograph in sepia, which has been glued onto a piece of cardboard. And also in here we have this, which is a little booklet, which is wrapped with a ribbon, and it also has a vintage button to close it, and some purple lace, crushed velvet, front and back. Shall we see what's inside? Let's open it. I think it's upside down. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. We have some vintage buttons, a little pocket. Inside is pink felt, and it's a needle case. We have some pins, some more vintage buttons, safety pin, and some blank pages. And that's Alice's little needle case, which simply just pops in the back there with that photograph, which I suspect might be her mother. So there we have it. We're back round to the back page, and that's it. We have these little tassels at the top which hang down, and there we go. So that's my journal, my very first fabric journal, and my very first video. I apologise for any fumbling or anything untoward, and I hope you'll excuse me because it is my very first one. I might be listing this journal onto my Etsy page, so if I do, I'll put a link in at the bottom of my YouTube, and I hope you'll at least give me a like or a comment, or any constructive criticism would be welcome. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.